The alien queen sat alone in her throne room, surrounded by tall silver pillars and glowing blue crystal lights. Her world was full of power and technology, yet at that moment, she felt weaker than she had ever felt before. The great halls of her palace were silent. Even the guards did not dare to speak. Everyone knew the queen was in deep fear, and when the queen feared something, the whole kingdom trembled. Her 3 newborn triplets, her heirs, her pride, her heart lay paralyzed. In their royal chamber, they had been attacked. No one knew how. No one knew why. The royal doctors tried every medicine, every machine, and every ancient alien healing method, but nothing worked. The triplets did not move. They did not cry. They only breathed softly, as if their tiny bodies were trapped between life and sleep. Queen could not stay by their side all day. She had a kingdom to rule, threats to manage, and secrets to protect. But her thoughts never left her children. She felt something dark watching them. Something she could not name. Something she could not fight yet. She had lost her trust in everyone, her advisors, her soldiers, even her own shadows. Only surveillance could give her a small sense of control. So she ordered a team of technicians to install hidden cameras in the triplets' room. Not normal cameras, these were silent, invisible, and connected directly to her throne. No one else could see the feed. No one else knew they existed. When the technicians finished, the queen dismissed them and locked herself in the throne room. 20 screens floated in front of her like silent ghosts. Each screen showed a different angle of the baby's room. Every breath, every small twitch, every flicker of light in the chamber appeared in perfect detail. At first, the queen simply watched. Hours passed. The triplets remained still. The machines around them beeped softly. The lights changed from morning glow to evening blue. There was nothing unusual, nothing strange, but the queen did not blink. She watched because she had to. Fear pushed her to keep looking. Then something changed. Late at night, when the palace halls were empty and all visitors had gone home, one of the doors to the triplets' chamber opened slowly. The queen's heart froze. She leaned forward, her sharp eyes narrowing at the screen. A figure stepped inside. At first the queen expected a doctor or a nurse, someone from the royal medical team. But the figure was wearing simple clothes, dark boots, a plain shirt, and a small cleaning badge on the chest. A human janitor. The queen's eyes widened. A human? Here, inside the royal nursery? At this hour? The janitor walked softly, almost respectfully, as if afraid to disturb the air itself. He did not speak. He did not turn on the lights. He simply moved closer to the triplets, carrying a small bag over his shoulder. The queen felt anger rising in her chest. Humans worked in the palace, yes, but they were not allowed near the royal children. Humans were considered weak and emotional, too soft for the harsh alien world. Why was this one entering without permission? She reached for the alarm button, but stopped. The janitor was doing something unexpected. He gently adjusted the blankets around the smallest triplet. His hands were steady and careful, not rough like the alien guards. He checked the breathing masks, softly wiping dust from the tubes. Then he took out a small glowing device from his bag. The queen's eyes narrowed again. What was that? A weapon? A tool? A danger? The janitor held the device near the triplet's hand. A faint pulse of light washed over the tiny fingers. The queen leaned closer, confused. It looked like human medical technology, but different, older, simpler, not dangerous. The janitor whispered something, but the cameras could not pick up the sound. Then the queen saw it. A finger moved, just a small movement, so small that anyone else would have ignored it. But the queen saw everything. Her heart jumped. Was it real? Was it an accident? Was it because of this human? The janitor didn't look surprised. Instead, he smiled sadly, almost like someone who carried a deep pain. Then he quietly turned and left the room. The Queen sat frozen, staring at the screen long after he was gone. She felt a mix of anger, confusion, and something unfamiliar. Who was this human? Why was he helping her children? And how did he make one of them move, even for a moment? The Queen's fear did not go away, but now it had changed shape. Something was happening. Something she did not understand. Something she had to uncover. The next morning, the alien queen did not sit on her throne like a ruler. She sat like a mother who had not slept. Her eyes stayed fixed on the screens in front of her. Each screen showed the quiet room where her paralyzed triplets lay. She replayed the same few minutes again and again, the human janitor entering, the gentle way he touched the blankets, the moment the smallest child's finger twitched, and the sad smile on the human's face as he walked out. Every time she watched the clip, her confusion grew stronger. Humans were known to be emotional creatures, but emotional did not mean brave. Emotional did not mean skilled. Emotional did not mean whatever he had done. She leaned back in her throne, deep in thought. Why did he come? How did he open the locked chamber? What was that old human device he used? And most of all, how did her child move? She needed answers. The Queen ordered the palace AI to bring up the human's information. A glowing panel appeared in the air. Name: Ethan Holly. Species: human. Job: janitor. Cleaning. Division: age: 34. Clearance level: low. Medical training: none. Warnings: silent. Keeps to himself. Notes: does extra shifts without asking. The Queen frowned. Nothing here explained anything. This was not a healer, not a scientist, not even a guard. Just a man who swept floors and emptied trash bins. Yet he had walked into the most protected room in the palace and touched her children without fear. The Queen switched to the live feed. The triplets were still unmoving, silent as tiny statues. But now the Queen watched with new eyes. She waited to see if they would react again, if they would twitch, if they would breathe deeper. But nothing happened. Hours passed. Then, just before noon, the door of the nursery opened. The Queen's pulse quickened. Her claws tightened on her throne. It was him. Ethan stepped inside with slow, careful movements. He held no weapons, no strange devices, only a cleaning cloth and a small box filled with soft lights. Human lights, warm and gentle, very different from the harsh alien glow. He placed the lights around the room, not randomly, thoughtfully, as if he knew the babies needed calm, not cold brightness. The room softened. The shadows eased. The silence felt less painful. The Queen watched him closely. Ethan checked the machines again, making sure the air was clean and the wires were not tangled. He wiped dust from their small faces. He touched them the way a father touches his own. Children, soft, patient, loving. No alien in the palace had ever treated them like that. Then Ethan did something new. He pulled from his pocket a folded old photo. The Queen zoomed the camera closer. It showed a small human child, smiling with bright eyes, wearing a hospital gown. Ethan's voice was low, barely picked up by the microphone. But this time the Queen heard pieces of his whisper. You look like her. All three of you. I'm sorry, I couldn't save her. The Queen's eyes widened. So that was it. This man had lost his own child. His grief had followed him across the stars. And now, when he looked at the Queen's triplets, he saw the ghost of the little girl he could not protect. The Queen felt something she had not expected. A sting of sympathy, but her confusion did not vanish. It only grew deeper. Then Ethan took out the small glowing device again. The Queen leaned so close to the screen, her breath fogged the air. The device hummed softly. He placed it near the second triplet's hand. A faint pulse of warmth spread, and the second child's thumb moved. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. He quickly wiped them away, not wanting anyone to see, even though he believed he was alone. He Whispered again, "I'll keep trying. I won't lose you too." The queen felt her heart pounding. This human, this ordinary janitor was doing something her best doctors could not. Something no alien healer had achieved in weeks.healing.real. Healing? But how? Why? Where did he learn this? Why did he hide it? Before she could think of more questions, Ethan suddenly paused. He looked around the room and then directly at one of the hidden cameras, as if he sensed something watching. The queen froze. Did he know she was watching him? Ethan stared at the camera for a long moment, then whispered something so soft the microphone barely caught it. "Please, let me help them." The queen's claws slipped from the throne's armrest. This human janitor was no intruder, no threat, but he was also not ordinary. Not simple, he was a mystery, one the queen had to solve. And she would. Because now she needed him more than she wanted to admit. The alien queen did not leave her throne room for the rest of the day. She sat like a stone statue with burning eyes, watching the screens again and again. The images of Ethan, the human janitor, played in her mind like a strange dream she could not escape. A human with low clearance, low power, and no status. Yet he was the only being who had touched her, triplets with real care, and he had made 2 of them move. That fact struck her harder than any weapon. Her royal doctors, trained in alien medicine for centuries, had failed. Her science teams had failed. Even her own healing power, something she had trusted all her life, had failed. But this man, this quiet human who cleaned floors, he had done something no one else could. The queen needed answers, real answers. She activated the palace eye again. "Bring me the janitor's daily route." A floating map appeared, showing every hallway Ethan cleaned, every room he entered, and every area he avoided. The queen zoomed in on every detail. Ethan always kept away from the main palace areas. He rarely spoke to anyone. He even took his lunch alone, in a small corner, away from other humans and aliens. He behaved like a man who wanted to disappear. But disappearing people often had painful stories. The queen left her throne room and ordered 2 guards to follow at a distance. She walked through the palace halls, moving slowly, thinking deeply. Servants and soldiers bowed as she passed, but she barely noticed them. Her mind was too busy. First, she visited the royal records room. She demanded Ethan's full history. File, it came on a glowing tablet. She read every word. Ethan had come from a colony world, far from the main human planets. His home city had been attacked by a plague. Many children died. His child, his little daughter, had been one of the last victims. There had been no cure. No doctor could help. The queen felt something tighten inside her chest. Grief. She understood grief. She was dancing with her own now. She scrolled further. After losing his daughter, Ethan had taken any job he could find. Labor jobs, cleaning jobs, manual work. He had no family left, no partner, no future plans. He simply survived. But the file said nothing about him knowing healing. Nothing about special training. Nothing about ancient human medical devices. So, where had that glowing tool come from? The queen closed the file. She needed more. She went to the medical wing next. The alien doctors stood straight when she entered. Their faces showed fear. They expected her anger. She asked simple questions. "Have any of you spoken to the human janitor?" "No, my queen." "Has anyone allowed him inside the nursery?" "No, my queen." "Has any human been trained in alien medicine recently?" "No, my queen." Everything was a dead end. The queen returned to her throne room. But this time, she did not watch the old footage. She switched to live cameras. She waited. And waited. In the late evening, Ethan appeared again. He walked into the nursery with quiet steps like always. He checked the breathing masks. He adjusted the blankets. He spoke softly, whispering to the triplets as if they could hear him, but Tonight, something new happened. Ethan took out a small book, not digital, not alien. A human book with worn pages. The cover showed ancient human symbols. The Queen quickly magnified the camera. It was a medical journal, old, fragile, but filled with handwritten notes. Ethan opened the book and studied a page carefully. His eyes moved slowly, as if reading instructions. Then he touched a point on the triplet's neck, a point no alien doctor had ever considered. He pressed lightly. The child's eyelids fluttered. The Queen gasped. Her child had reacted again. Ethan smiled a sad, quiet smile. "You're stronger than they think," he whispered. The Queen leaned closer to the screen. How did he know that pressure point? It wasn't alien medicine. It wasn't modern human medicine. It was something older. Maybe something forgotten. Queen's tail curled behind her in thought. This human was not just cleaning, not just grieving. He was trying. He was learning. He was fighting for her children in his own quiet way, and he was doing it alone. Later that night, Ethan left the room and walked down a long, empty hallway. He carried the old book to a small closet he used as a personal space. The Queen, through the cameras, watched him sit on a crate and open another old book, this one filled with drawings of healing techniques from many species. He studied for hours, his eyes tired but determined. The Queen felt something shift inside her: curiosity, respect, and a small spark of hope. But a new fear grew too, a fear bigger than before. If this human knew this much, if he was helping the triplets improve, then someone else might notice, someone dangerous, someone who wanted the triplets weak or gone. The Queen suddenly understood something important. Ethan was not safe, and as long as he helped her children, he would become a target. The Queen rose from her throne with a new decision forming in her mind. Decision that would change everything. The next morning came with a heavy silence. The alien Queen had not slept. She kept replaying the images she had seen. Ethan's gentle hands, the movement in her children's fingers, the old human medical books, and the strange glowing device that looked older than the palace itself. Her mind refused to rest. She knew now that Ethan Hawley was not a normal janitor. Something deeper lived inside him: pain, knowledge, and a strange courage. But she needed to know the truth. So she made a decision. A quiet one. A dangerous one. She would investigate Ethan's past herself. The Queen left her throne room early. Her guards followed her, confused but silent. She ordered them to take her to the Human Worker Archive Room, a place she rarely visited. It was a small chamber at the edge of the palace, filled with glowing panels showing the lives of every human employed under her rule. A human assistant bowed as she entered. "My Queen, how may I serve?" "I need the full life record of Ethan Hawley," the Queen said. The assistant hesitated. "That file is restricted, even for us." The Queen's tail snapped sharply. "Nothing is restricted for me." The assistant quickly opened the files, hands shaking. A holographic screen appeared with more details than before. Private, hidden, sealed information. The Queen studied every line. Ethan had been born on a quiet human colony world. The planet had warm oceans and peaceful cities. He had been a normal man with a normal life. A job, a partner, a little daughter named Mira. The Queen's eyes softened. Yes, that was the child in the photo. She continued reading. When Mira turned 6, the colony was hit by a strange plague, unknown, fast-spreading, deadly. Humans called it star fever. It attacked the nervous system. First weakness, then paralysis, then death. The Queen froze. Paralysis. The key. Same symptom her triplets had. Her breath caught in her chest. Had Ethan recognized something? Was he trying to fight the same sickness again? The records continued. Ethan had spent every night by his daughter's side. He had visited every healer, every doctor, every clinic. He had begged, prayed, cried, but nothing helped. Then the Queen saw something unexpected. Ethan's daughter was treated by a mixed species. Medical team, one human doctor, one alien doctor from a small species called the Lithari tiny healers known for pressure point medicine, and one old human scientist who specialized in forbidden tech. The Queen felt her heart pound. So Ethan had seen alien healing before. He had seen pressure techniques. He had seen ancient devices. He had watched his daughter fight the same paralysis her triplets suffered now. The Queen read on. Mira died. Ethan's partner left him. He fell into silence, drifting from job to job. But in his free hours he searched for healing knowledge, not to save anyone else, but because he could not forgive himself for failing his daughter. Because he could not forgive him his daughter's tongue. Queen closed the file slowly. Ethan Hawley was not a threat. He was a wounded man with a heart full of broken memories. He was a father who had lost everything. And now, standing in front of her cameras, he was trying again, trying to save children who reminded him of the one he could not keep. The Queen left the archive room with a storm inside her. All day, she watched Ethan again. He walked through the palace quietly, carrying his old books. He sat alone during lunch, writing notes in the margins. He cleaned the halls with slow, careful movements, as if the world around him was made of glass. Other workers walked past him without noticing him. But the Queen noticed everything. Later that evening, Ethan returned to the nursery. The Queen watched closely. He gently cleaned the machines, read another chapter from his old book, and touched one child's forehead in a way that matched something in the Lithari healing text the Queen remembered. Then she saw it. A soft tremble in the child's leg. A deeper breath. The faintest sound, like a tiny whimper. Ethan's hands shook. Tears filled his eyes. You're getting stronger. I know you are. He whispered. The Queen's heart beat loudly in her chest. Her children were responding. They were changing. They were awakening. Not because of alien medicine, not because of royal power, but because of a human who carried the memory of his daughter like a wound that never healed. For the first time since the attack, the Queen felt hope, not a small hope, but a strong one. A dangerous one. But with hope came fear. If Ethan could heal the children, then someone must have known how to hurt them, someone who understood paralysis, someone who understood alien pressure points, someone who wanted the triplets weak, and now Ethan quiet. Gentle Ethan was standing in the middle of a threat he could not even see. The Queen closed her eyes. She would protect him. She had to. Because Ethan Hawley might be the only being in the galaxy who could save her children. The palace felt different that night. The air was heavy, as if the whole building was waiting for something to happen, waiting for something to change. Guards walked quietly. Lights flickered softly. Even the machines in the nursery hummed in a strange rhythm. The alien Queen did not sit on her throne. She stood close to the screens, eyes fixed on the live camera feed. Her triplets lay still, breathing in weak little whispers. She had watched them like this for weeks, but tonight, something felt different, something sharp, something alive. Ethan Hawley was late. Every night he came at the same time. Every night. He moved with the same gentle steps. Every night he whispered the same soft words. But tonight he did not appear. The Queen felt an unexpected fear rise inside her. She told herself she didn't care. She told herself he was only a janitor. But her claws tightened, and her tail twitched with worry. Then finally the door opened. Ethan rushed inside, breathing hard. His clothes were messy. His hands were shaking. He looked scared. The Queen leaned forward. What happened to him? She whispered to herself. Ethan closed the door quickly and locked it. He walked straight to the triplets. His movements were faster tonight, not calm, not quiet. He checked their vitals, their temperature, their breathing. Then the Queen saw something that made her chest tighten with fear. The numbers on the machines were dropping. The children were getting worse. Something was attacking them again quietly. Slowly, invisibly. "No," the Queen whispered. "Not again." Ethan seemed to know it too. His eyes widened. He opened his small bag, pulling out not just the glowing device, but other old tools, things that looked handmade, repaired. Many times kept with love and sadness. The Queen watched his hands move quickly. This was not normal janitor behavior. This was someone fighting against time. He switched on the glowing device. The blue light spread across the room. Ethan placed it near the triplets' chests, then their neck, then their wrists. He repeated something over and over, some technique he had learned long ago. The Queen recognized it from the Lithari healer notes. Pressure balance, nerve awakening, life stimulation. But the human version was different, gentler, slower, full of emotion. Ethan whispered, "Come on. Come on. Don't leave. Please." The Queen's throat tightened. Then it happened. The smallest triplet gasped a tiny, soft, broken sound, but a real sound. Ethan froze. The Queen froze. The whole room felt like it stopped breathing. The child's fingers curled, slowly, weakly, but they moved. Ethan covered his mouth, eyes filling with tears. Yes, that's it. You're fighting." The Queen felt heat rise behind her eyes. A queen was not supposed to cry. A queen was not supposed to show weakness. But her child had moved, truly moved. Ethan continued, working with more focus. He pressed lightly at the base of the smallest triplet's skull, a pressure point he had learned from an alien healer long ago. The child's chest rose in a stronger breath. Then another. Then another, a miracle, a real miracle. Ethan quickly moved to the second triplet. He repeated the technique. The glowing device pulsed softly. He whispered encouragement. "You're brave. I know you are. You can do this." The Queen watched with wide eyes as the second child's leg twitched. Not a big movement, but enough to show life. Ethan laughed softly, a broken, emotional sound. "You're coming back. Don't stop now." But then he reached the third child. The Queen felt her heart squeezed out. The third triplet had always been the weakest. Ethan placed both hands gently on the child's neck and chest. He took a deep breath. "Mira," he whispered, "please help me. Please guide me." The Queen stiffened. He was talking to his daughter. He closed his eyes and pressed a new point, one he had not tried before. A long moment passed. A painful moment. A silent moment. Then the third child's eyes opened, just for half a second, just a tiny flicker. But enough to show consciousness. Ethan collapsed to his knees, shaking. Thank you. The Queen's hand rose to her mouth. Her children, her precious triplets, were waking. Not fully, not perfectly, but they were fighting again. They were alive because of him. Because of a human. Ethan wiped his eyes and stood up slowly. He checked the machines. The numbers had risen. The danger had passed for now. The Queen watched as he touched each baby gently, whispering, "I won't stop. I promise, I won't lose anyone again." The Queen felt something powerful inside her shift. Respect, gratitude, and a fierce desire to protect. Him, Ethan Hawley, had done the impossible. He had created the first miracle, but miracles attracted attention. Dangerous attention. And now the Queen knew something deadly. If someone had tried to hurt her children once, they would try again. And Ethan, quiet, gentle, grieving Ethan, was now part of the battle. She would have to protect him, no matter what, even if it meant war. The palace was no longer peaceful. The miracle had changed everything. The Queen felt something she had not felt in weeks. Hope. But hope came with danger. If Ethan could help her triplets recover, then whoever had attacked them would not stay silent. They would strike again. And they would strike harder. The Queen spent the whole night checking every camera, every hallway, every guard's patrol. She tightened security around the nursery. She doubled the watch around the palace. No one would harm her children again. Not while she lived, but there was someone she needed to face. Someone who carried answers and secrets. Ethan Hall, the human janitor, did not know he had been watched. He did not know the Queen had seen every miracle he performed. He did not know the Queen had read his past like a book, but now he would. Know everything. The Queen ordered her guards. Bring the human to me, alone, unharmed. The guards bowed and hurried away. Ethan was cleaning a quiet hallway when the guards surrounded him. He froze. His hand tightened around his cleaning cloth, and his eyes widened in fear. What did I do? Did I break something? He asked. Softly, you are summoned, the guard replied. Summoned me? Ethan whispered, voice trembling. He followed them with hesitant steps, afraid of what waited for him. He had never stood before the Queen. He had never even spoken to her. He was just a janitor, a simple worker. A man who swept floors. Being summoned by the Queen felt like walking toward judgment. They reached the enormous throne room. The guards opened the doors slowly. Ethan stepped inside, shaking. The room was silent. Too silent. The kind of silence that carried power. The Queen stood beside her floating screens, tall and sharp like a creature carved from crystal. Her eyes glowed softly. Her tail moved in slow, controlled motions. Ethan bowed so quickly he almost fell. My Queen, I'm sorry if I did anything wrong. The Queen did not speak. She simply looked at him, and Ethan felt her gaze like a weight on his chest. After a long moment, she said, raise your head. He obeyed, shaking. The Queen stepped closer. She held up one clawed hand, and the air between them lit up, showing the camera footage from the nursery. Ethan's breath stopped. He saw himself on the screen. Every movement, every whisper, every miracle. His knees weakened. You were watching? He whispered. Yes, the Queen answered. Her voice was low, dangerous, unreadable. I saw everything. Ethan's face turned pale. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to trespass. I didn't mean to break rules. I only wanted to help. I couldn't stand seeing them helpless. Silence, the Queen said gently but firmly. Ethan's mouth closed. He trembled. Like a man expecting punishment, the Queen walked closer until she stood only a few feet away. Her voice softened. You healed my children. You saved them twice. Ethan blinked, confused. I tried, my Queen. I just didn't want to fail again. The Queen tilted her head. Fail again. Ethan shut his eyes. His hands shook. My daughter, she was sick, paralyzed. No one could help her. I tried everything. Every doctor, every healer. And still, he swallowed hard. I lost her. The Queen felt a painful sting in her chest. She lowered her voice. You used what you learned to help my triplets. Ethan nodded, tears gathering in his eyes. They remind me of her. The way they lie there. The fear in their breathing. I saw her in them, and I couldn't walk away. The Queen took a slow breath. You have done something my people could not. You have given them a chance to live, and for that, Ethan Halley, I am in your debt. Ethan stared at her in shock. Your debt? But you are not just anything, the Queen interrupted. You are a healer, a fighter, a man who carries scars deeper than most soldiers. Ethan's lips trembled. No one has ever called me that. The Queen stepped back slightly. I want you to continue healing them, but not in secret, not alone. I will give you protection, status, home. My children need you. Ethan shook his head, overwhelmed. My Queen, I don't deserve that. You deserve more than you believe, she said. And you are not doing this alone. Before Ethan could respond, a sudden alarm echoed through the palace, a deep, Sharp, terrifying sound. A warning that something had breached the outer defenses. The Queen's eyes flashed with fury. She turned toward the entrance. They are here. Ethan's heart pounded. Who? The Queen looked back at him, her voice like a blade. The ones who hurt my children. The ones who want them dead. Ethan stepped back, fear gripping him. Then we have to protect them now. The Queen gave a sharp, powerful nod. And you will stand with me. The human janitor felt his fear melt into determination. The Queen felt her anger turn into strength. Together, they ran toward the nursery. The real fight was just beginning. The alarm echoed through the palace like a cry of war. Red lights flashed across the halls, and the ground shook under heavy footsteps. The attack had begun. The Queen's worst fear had come true. Those who had hurt her triplets were back to finish what they started. Ethan ran beside the Queen, struggling to keep up with her long, powerful strides. His heart pounded painfully. He had never been in a war. He had never held a weapon. He had never fought anything except grief. But now, for the first time in years, he felt purpose burning inside his chest. We have to reach them, Ethan. Sighed, breathless. We will, the Queen answered. Her voice was sharp and full of fire. No one will touch my children. Not tonight. They reached the main hallway leading to the nursery and stopped. 3 armored figures blocked the path. Their bodies were covered in dark plates, and their eyes glowed with red light. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly. The Queen growled softly. Assassins, royal class. Ethan swallowed hard. They look strong. They are killers. Trained from childhood, the Queen said. But they bleed like anyone else. The assassins lifted their weapons. Ethan stepped back, fear rising. The Queen stepped forward, anger rising. A flash of blue energy shot toward her. She dodged, leaped, struck with a force that cracked the floor. The first assassin flew backward, crashing into a pillar. Ethan watched in awe. He had seen her as a ruler, a mother, a grieving queen. But now he saw her as a warrior. The second assassin charged. The Queen blocked the attack, but the third slipped past, running straight toward the nursery door. No! Ethan shouted dot without thinking. He ran after the assassin. His legs shook. His breath burned. But he ran anyway. The assassin turned slightly, surprised by the human's sudden bravery. Ethan had nothing in his hands, no weapon, no armor. Just desperation. The assassin struck him across the chest with the back of a blade. Ethan fell hard, gasping for air. Pain exploded through his body. The Queen roared with fury. She slammed her claws into the second assassin and threw him to the ground. She raced toward Ethan, but the third assassin reached the nursery door and began cutting through the lock. The Queen froze. Her mind screamed. Her children were seconds away from death. But then, Ethan stood up. Slowly, shakily. But he stood. His breathing hurt. His ribs felt broken, but he pushed forward again. Get away from them, he said, voice trembling. The assassin looked at him with cold amusement. A human? You think you can fight me? Ethan didn't answer. He simply moved. He grabbed a dropped piece of metal from the floor and swung with everything he had. The assassin blocked easily, but Ethan didn't stop. He kept swinging, kept fighting, kept pushing. Not because he thought he could win, but because he refused to fail another child. The assassin grew impatient. He struck Ethan again harder. Ethan hit the wall. Blood fell from his lip. Stay down, the assassin hissed. But Ethan pushed himself up again. I won't. That moment, just that stubborn breath was enough. The Queen arrived like a storm dot. She struck the assassin with a roar that shook the hallway. He slammed into the opposite wall and collapsed. Silence fell. The Queen turned to Ethan. His knees buckled. She caught him before he fell. You fool, she whispered, anger and relief mixing in her voice. "You could have died." Ethan tried to smile. "At least, I protected them, for a moment." The Queen looked at him with something new, something close to respect, maybe even something close to affection. "You are remarkable, Ethan Hawley." Guards ran in behind them, securing the area. The remaining assassins were arrested. The danger was over for now, but the Queen did not leave Ethan's side. She helped him walk into the nursery. The triplets lay peacefully, unaware of the battle. Fought for them. Machines beeped softly. The lights glowed warm. Ethan reached toward the smallest child and whispered, "You're safe." "All of you." The Queen watched him closely. He had no armor, no weapons, no training. But he had stood against killers because he refused to lose anyone ever again. The Queen placed a hand on his shoulder. "You saved them," she said softly. "Not just with your healing, but with your courage." Ethan lowered his eyes. "I just did what I had to." "And for that," the Queen said, voice full of royal power, "you will no longer be a janitor." Ethan blinked. "What?" "From that moment," the Queen declared, "you are now royal protector of my heirs." Ethan stared at her in shock, then at the children he had fought for. He had lost one child, but now he had 3 to protect. 3 who needed him. 3 who trusted him, and he would never fail them. The Queen looked at the screens one last time. She had installed cameras to protect her children, but instead, those cameras had shown her something she never expected: a human with a broken past, a father with a wounded heart, a man who became a hero,